Today we're holding our Canadian flag very proudly, supporting athletes in Italy competing at the 2026 Paralympic Games. And there's some Northern British Columbian flavor to these games, including Mr. Adam Kingsmill, who's going to join the show today. This is a goalie for Canada's para hockey team from Smithers, British Columbia. Overcame a lot of hurdles, including a tryout here with the Caribou Cougars way back in the day in Prince George. Hear his story and so much more on CKPG Today. Time for another edition in the archives with our good friend Chad. How's it going?
Oh, great as always, Caden.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you here as well as always. I guess it is your home, your second home.
It's my home. Sometimes it feels like I must sleep here.
Well, I would believe you if you told me yes. But today we're talking about beer, and not just any beer, Prince George beer. There's a lot of beer history.
Oh, there's a lot of beer history here. I think part of the history of Prince George is the history of beer. Yeah. Right? Or the history of beer is part of the history of Prince George.
Yeah, two go hand in
exactly.
hand. Do you even crack them in here sometimes?
Sometimes.
Okay, you got to call me when you're
here. Yeah. First on the list.
Okay, let's talk about Old Fort Brewing, though.
Yeah, so this button, I don't know, can you...
Yeah.
Zach, can you zoom in there?
Look at that. Chad asks, he gets. What a world we live in. So Old Fort Brewing.
Old Fort Brewing came in. It's what's now PWB, okay. Right? But these folks were in here between Ben Ginter's Tartan and PWB. So they had a very short run around 81 to 85-ish. Okay. 85 is when PWB took over. But Old Fort was the original sponsor of the Sandblast tournament. So we have
them to thank.
We have them to thank, at least for the alcohol served during the Sandblast.
Couldn't have hurt.
Exactly. And they were also the brewery that became famous for a couple of hosers of Bob and Doug McKenzie, you know, and that was the brewery that they found the rat in.
A little strange brew.
A little strange brew, and that brought them. They came to Prince George. They got some little Mr. PG statues in a big ceremony.
That is awesome.
And there's some I love these because it's been a while since I've been able to pull this out.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers the Iron Horse.
Yeah. See, I think of, well, it was before my time, but I've heard many stories about great nights.
Yes, exactly.
This is about the beer, though, the Iron
Horse.
This
is the beer, the Iron Horse,
okay.
Yeah.
Which the bar was named after.
I believe so. I think.
Well,
so someone will correct us. I'm sure people love to correct you, right?
Oh, believe me.
Oh, which is a good segue, maybe.
Okay.
Into this, or do you want to talk about this more?
No, let's go segue into that.
Okay, so. Sorry.
Wind them up and let them go.
Yeah, exactly. So we have from it doesn't have the name on the front, unfortunately, but this is the guest book from a fabulous restaurant. Did you ever eat at Roselle's?
Nope. Too young.
Okay, Roselle's restaurant.
When did it close? Yeah.
Oh, the 90s.
Yeah, 90s.
Somewhere in the 90s.
It was pre-2000.
Pre-2000s, yeah, exactly.
Quite the run.
It had quite the run, and a very famous customer came in. He came in before hours.
Okay.
He had a friend in Houston.
Of all places.
Of all places, Houston, BC.
Yep.
Who called ahead to Roselle and said, "Hey, can you open like 2 hours early? I have a friend from out of town. He has a flight to catch tonight, and I really want to bring him to this restaurant." She said, "Of course I can."
For you, anything.
For you, anything. Okay. And we don't know the name of this gentleman either.
We don't?
We don't know the friend's name.
Okay.
So they open up. He arrives first. Apparently, according to Roselle, he was very nervous, waiting for his friend, looking out the window and such. And then a cab pulls up, and in the words of Roselle herself, the ugliest man she has ever seen in her life.
What a memory.
Ugly as sin is what she said. Ugly as sin. walks out of it, but he was really nice. He was very friendly. He was smiling. Apparently, he figured she should know who he is, but he didn't say anything. That gentleman happened to be Mick Jagger.
The
Mick Jagger. This was in 1989, so this was Steel Wheels Tour. He had played in Vancouver the night before, and that evening they were playing in Oakland, California. So no kidding, he had to catch a flight straight down to Oakland. And their dinner lasted until they were regularly open, at which point he was wandering around chatting with other tables. Some people knew it was him.
Yeah.
Apparently, a lot of people just didn't recognize him, and he was really happy about that.
Huh? Prince George, undercover.
Exactly.
Hey? Yeah.
Exactly. Now, this signature here led to a little bit of controversy on our own social media because we were accused of trying to portray a fraud.
Oh, are you fraudulent?
No, I'm not fraudulent at all. And you know, we released more information. It was backed up by some citizen articles and such around the time.
Okay.
And then finally people went, okay, you got us. You're right. It was Mick Jagger. So there you go.
Wow, Mick Jagger.
Mick Jagger.
Who would have thought it? I guess it's true. I tell people this all the time, Chad. All roads lead through Prince George at some point.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
Whether it's the stars of heated rivalry coming to Prince George, or you got Mick Jagger.
Exactly.
People come here. Taylor Swift next. Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe she'd already been here. We just didn't know.
We didn't know. Yeah.
This is a thing.
I think the Swifties would report on it.
That's true. Hey, but cool stuff in the archives as always. And yeah, thanks for your time today, Chad. It's been great to learn about a little piece of history here in Prince George. Thank you.
No problem.
Miss an episode? That's okay, life gets busy. We get it. Or maybe you didn't miss anything, but you're here to watch that one feature again because honestly, it was that good. No judgment. Here's the good news. You can relive every moment of the CKPG Today Show whenever you want. Head over to ckpgtoday.ca, click on the Today Show tab, and voila. So grab some snacks, kick back, and binge away because let's face it, life's too short to miss out on great local TV.
Today we get the chance to be joined by one of the stars of the Canadian men's para hockey team. This is Adam Kingsmill, a fellow who grew up in Smithers, British Columbia, and now is Canada's starting goalie. So lucky to be joined by him today on the show from Italy direct. Adam, thanks so much for making the time to chat with us.
Hey, thank you, Caden. I'm very excited to be here today.
So tell me about the excitement for the 2026 Paralympic Games here in Italy. You're over there, you're playing some exhibition games in advance of the competition. What's it been like?
I mean, starting with the excitement, I think, I'm getting all the boys and myself included, just very excited to get the games going. Today we had our last exhibition game against Italy. So now our next one's going to be in the game. So that's, pretty fired up about it.
What's the time change? Have you had to deal with jet lag pretty bad, or you've managed to kind of avoid that?
We have a great IST staff with us. So we staged in Oakville, Ontario for 2 to 3 weeks before coming over here. And then we've been here for a week now. And that last week that we're in Oakville, we made sure that we're, going to bed early and waking up earlier. So, that jet lag transition's been pretty easy on my end.
Yeah, the 10-ish hours from Pacific time to Italy time is a bit different than a daylight savings time change, so that's good to hear. This is your second Paralympic Games, Adam, and so when you go into one like this, what are you taking from the last experience that you hope to build on?
Yeah, Beijing, it was a huge learning opportunity for me. We had a veteran goalie at the time, and, since then he's retired, so, I've kind of stepped into that role, and the staff at the beginning of Beijing kind of told me why I was there and to try and take advantage of all the experiences. So, over the past 4 years, it's kind of felt like a decade worth of experience, and just my maturity itself has grown a lot. And I've, as a goalie, you got to kind of be steady all the time. So once those bright lights hits, you don't know what you're going to be feeling, but I know that, I got to remain steady. So the guys can be steady around me.
Okay, so for those who don't know, for para hockey, there's not like a league per se that Canada gets to play in, or players like yourself get to play in. So how does it work? We're going to remind the viewers here, because there's a lot of tournaments and events all over the world.
Yeah, so we've got about 3 or 4 tournaments every year that are going to be around the same. So we start off in Czech. We typically have a Canadian tournament in December, and then we'll sprinkle in random series, whether it's USA, China, or Czech. We'll kind of try and play each other, as much as we can throughout the year. And then World Championships typically is every year, and that's our big tournament outside of the Paralympics.
Now I want to go back to memory lane with you here, Adam, because this is cool. For those who don't know, of course, you grew up in Smithers, and now you live in Calgary, but to be part of the national team, it makes sense. But growing up in Smithers, part of this journey involved a tryout with the Caribou Cougars. Talk to me about the story.
Yeah, well, growing up, I didn't really know about para hockey until I was about 16, actually, when I got approached to try such hockey with the development team. And all I wanted to do growing up is as a classic Canadian kid, I wanted to play in the NHL and I wanted to represent Canada. And fortunately, I get to play for Canada, and it's such an honor and privilege. But growing up through that minor hockey, all of my teammates, all my friends, and all the competitors, they didn't treat me any differently. And I was just another athlete out there trying to make it. And I was fortunate enough to have the dedication and the support from my family and friends to help me. They went through a lot of sacrifices to help me get to random tournaments and, in the gym every day and lots of practices throughout the week. So owe a lot to them, but it was a lot of hard work. And, I was fortunate enough to get that tryout. And shortly after, I got asked to play for Team Canada at the development series, and I couldn't pass up that opportunity.
Have you always wanted to be a goalie? Did you ever want to be a player? Like, how did this all come together?
Every day I think that I wish I was a player, but it was just a calling for me. My brother was a goalie when he was little, and he ended up transitioning into snowboard and skiing. But my dad was also a goalie and still is to this day. So it was just kind of a natural fit, and I guess I got that little weird quirks to me that helped me be this way.
Adam, I want to leave you the floor for something I love to give athletes a chance to say. I mean, yourself, a very big source of inspiration for many who face the challenges just like you faced in your young career across northern British Columbia. But what would your words of wisdom be to someone out there struggling with that, struggling with overcoming extra challenges to get to a Team Canada like yourself? What would your words of wisdom be?
Put yourself out there. Take every opportunity that you could. I know I debated back and forth whether or not I wanted to try such hockey to begin with. I was so dedicated to playing stand-up and wanting to play in the NHL. But, my parents have always told me to take every opportunity, no matter what it is, and speak. Especially going through challenges, you got to talk to other people and try and gain their perspective. Sit back and listen and try and learn what they've gone through and use that to your advantage. So, especially coming from the north, there's not a whole lot of parasport advocates or visibility up there. So the big thing is to just kind of reach out. If you see a player, we've got a great team here, and all the players around the country are phenomenal. So if you're interested in any type of sport, whether it's wheelchair basketball, para hockey, wheelchair rugby, and that's something that you find interesting, then reach out and they'll be more than happy to help you along.
Well, you're a great guy, Adam. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. With the time change, of course, I'll let you get back to the team activities in Italy, but looking forward to cheering you on here from across the globe, and a true Northern BC talent like yourself. Go Canada, go, and make us proud and get that gold medal. Thank you.
Thanks, Caden. I really appreciate it.
Tired of missing the good stuff? Let CKPG Today come to you. Our new weekly email newsletter delivers local stories, contests, and can't-miss moments from the show straight to your inbox. No digging through social media anymore. It's free, it's easy, and it's very local. Sign up now at ckpgtoday.ca or by scanning the QR code on your screen now.
Musical Merriment coming up this weekend at Vanier Hall on March 8th. We're so lucky to have a little preview for you on the show today. We got Carolyn, we got Michael in here. The Prince Rupert Symphony Orchestra going to be a fun place to be. Michael, why don't you kind of explain a little bit of the overarching theme? You got a lot going on. You got the cantata singers and a bunch of soloists.
Yeah, a lot going on. That's what makes this concert great, I think. And you'll hear not only that, but you're going to hear sections of the orchestra by themselves. So if I lay out the whole concert, we start with just the strings, playing a piece called Northern Sunrise, which is perfect for where we live.
Yes,
right?
it
And
is.
kind of describes in music how the sun comes up, all the different colors, really wonderful. Then the strings get off the stage. Then we bring the woodwinds in and the brass and percussion, and they play a piece by Ronaldo Hahn called Le Bal de Beatrice d'Est. Wow. And basically it's a very colorful piece written by a turn-of-the-century French composer looking back to the Renaissance. So it has these Renaissance dances, but it's very colorful, very beautiful. And then we have Schubert Lieder. These are songs, Schubert songs, by our four soloists that are, two actually are from in town. Danielle and Nicole are here, or Melanie are here in town. Yep. Then we have two others. And they're going to sing some songs for us, right? This is Lieder, usually with piano and voice, but composers have orchestrated for orchestra. Then after intermission, we do the Mass, the Coronation Mass of Mozart, with the cantata singers and the soloists.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of everything in this concert.
I like it. Carolyn, how excited are you and the cantata singers to be part of this? This sounds like it's literally like a party a little bit here.
Yeah, it's a party for sure. I was so excited. We started rehearsing the Mozart before Christmas already. Wow. And so the choir is completely ready, and tonight is our first rehearsal with Michael, and very excited to get going.
What, when you get to perform with an orchestra, are there some things that you do differently as singers? How do you prepare for that?
Absolutely. I mean,
because you've worked in, with the Tapestry singers and with other groups, like in the cantata singers, I imagine it's all pretty similar, but yeah.
So Michael has a lot going on, so not just the singers, but he's got the orchestra in front of him. So typically if you're directing just voices, they're looking at me, I'm giving all of my attention to them. Right, entrances, everything. Michael has a lot going on, so preparing the singers for different tempos that might occur, being prepared for anything, but also knowing that Michael is not necessarily going to cue them in for every single part within the Mass. And also typically when I'm directing voices, using my hands, he'll be using a baton, so I've been using a baton. So just walking through that process so they're as ready as they can be.
Yeah, Michael?
Yeah.
What? Tell me about like your side here, because it reminds me of like Sweeney Todd or the Nutcracker, these kind of things, the orchestra, I'm working with other parties. It's a lot more than just performing on your own.
Yeah, but you know though, I always approach it as really focusing mainly on the chorus, because that's where the text is, and that's where to me the focus is. And so my job, like you were saying, is get the orchestra feeling very confident, and so they can kind of do their thing. And then in the performance and in the rehearsals, I'm really focused on the chorus and I'm making sure the orchestra is doing what they need to do. But I wanted to say too, we talk about musical Merriment, because there's a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, some of the pieces we're doing, and the Mozart, it is a mass, but I don't want people to think it's sort of a religious situation.
Okay.
I mean, of course it is. It's a mass. It's in Latin. But there's something very, very much operatic about it, and especially with the soloist singing.
Yes.
There's some wonderful movements where you could mistake it for being an aria in an opera. So it is religious, of course, but you don't have to be a religious person to come and enjoy this. It's got a real, as I said, a sense of celebration to it, which is really phenomenal. Great. I mean, who writes better than Mozart for the voices? Just wonderful.
Yeah.
Mozart knew how to write for the voice like no other. So it's very well suited and very tuneful, very melodic. It's just going to be wonderful.
I like it. Musical Merriment. Have you ever done this kind of stuff before, Carolyn? Like, I mean, Mozart, I guess, yes, but.
No, I've never prepared a choir.
Okay.
To prepare such a big piece of music to perform together with an orchestra, it's the first time, but I've loved every single minute of it. So lots of work, lots of preparation, conversations with Michael, learning Latin, putting it all together. But it's terrific fun, and Michael is right. It's so much fun to sing. There's so much joy within this Mass.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a great time,
for sure.
Michael. The people are going to be up there. Make sure you get your tickets early, because there's going to be a lot of people wanting to go to this. Of course, all the families of the soloists here, which are coming to town as well.
Correct.
Great to acknowledge them, and we'll include all the details in case you missed anything on our website, ckpgtoday.ca. I feel like we could talk for hours about this concert.
It's great.
So it's going to be great on March the 8th. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Taking a look outside at today's CKPG Snapshot, which takes us to Stuart Lake from Taylor Hansen. A beautiful shot here at what Mother Nature has created. Some heaves in the ice in Stuart Lake. This is what happens when it gets warm, things start melting, and then they freeze up again. And there's a bit of a crack in the ice, and then it freezes, the ice moves, and pushes other ice up. Creates this kind of spectacle. a natural phenomenon, as they say. Thanks, Taylor, for sending this our way. A beautiful shot and something that also makes a very cool sound. If you ever get the chance to go listen to ice heaves moving around, it's like an orchestra. If you have a snapshot, folks, we'd love to see it. Snapshot at ckpg.com. Hey there, got an idea or suggestion for the show? Reach out and connect through our social media or send us an email at letstalk@ckpgtoday.ca.
I'm probably going to jinx it by mentioning it today, but we haven't had a lot of talk about wildlife being wild in the city of Prince George, like getting a lot of attention anyways. You know, we had the bear thing a couple years ago, but what about cougars? We haven't heard about a cougar in city limits in quite a while. Today we're looking back in local history at not only a cougar and kittens in city limits.
Taking a look back to 2003, Prince George conservation officers were busy. They had 3 cougar kittens in captivity and were continuing their hunt for the mother cat, which had been spotted several times in the Cranbrook Hill UNBC area in the past week. According to this article, if the mother cat was found, the family would be relocated to a less populated area. And yes, of course, it is very rare to see cougars in Prince George, let alone kittens. And this is one of those sightings that had to get dealt with. According to this article, populations are rising in the Prince George area because of a rise in the deer population. More cougars, more deer, more work for conservation officers is what I'm hearing.
I'm just speculating here, but CN Center, not too far away from where the cougar and kittens were found. So I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. It sounds like Rowdy Cat's biggest scandal. But anyway, thanks so much for watching this week. It's been a great chance to give you some local features, some local content, some local people on a local television program that we love to put on. Showed it to our crew behind the scenes, director Alex, we got producer Zach, and so many more here at CKPG that make this possible every single week. So we'll see more great stuff after the weekend, folks, but until then, bye for now. Enjoy.